Hello everyone and welcome back to The Big Hit. I'm Nathan, along always with Josh over here. Today, it is baseball season. It's starting this coming week, and we are going to talk some Buccos, our predictions, some hot takes, maybe some guys who are going to lead the team in certain stats. And then we're going to go into like entire MLB, what's going on. I know some big stories have came out. I know about like Shohei Ohtani. That's been the crazy news in the first week or so of the season since the Korean series. But let's start with the Buccos. Josh, I'll start with you. Spring training just ended today. They announced the rosters. Anything sticking out to you?
I'm really excited about what the Buccos are going to do this year. We can start off. I mean, they're leading. I know it's only spring training, but they are leading the league in homers. So, I mean, if that doesn't tell you anything, I don't know what will. So the guys they're mashing the ball. The young guys look good. I don't know. We just look like a complete team this year, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to add on to that. One of the guys that was the big news today, at the time of this video, Jared Jones gets the call up. I saw a crazy stat on Twitter today. It's the first Pirate since 1999 with no service time to be called up. That is a top prospect for opening day. He had a 0 ERA in spring training, and he didn't just pitch against like bum teams, I guess. Right. He pitched against the Braves starting lineup, pitched against the Orioles a bit too, some top teams in there. He allowed only one unearned run, so he kept a 0 ERA all year. I'm excited for Jared Jones, and another young guy that I think you and I and everyone really wants to see is Paul Skeens. They're starting him in AAA this year, which makes a lot of sense actually. And he needs to get on like a rotation, like routine type of thing. But him mixed with Paul Skeens, I'm very excited to see what they can do. But like, what's your thoughts on Jared Jones getting the call?
Yeah, I mean, I like Jared Jones a lot. I think he shows a lot of potential in this rotation for sure. Because I mean, we have a lot of like older veteran guys in our rotation, so it's good to see some youthfulness that is going to show some longevity for our rotation. And I like what you said about Paul Skeens. I think it's good that it's a good choice that the Pirates made, which is rare. And I'm glad that they started him off in AAA. Just so that he can get some innings and see some higher tier hitters.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be good for both of them. And I mean, I expect to see him up by June, July at the latest. So
I was thinking like late May, maybe.
Even that, yeah.
Because he could hypothetically get 100 innings in the major leagues this year coming up in mid-May because they don't have to pitch him the whole game. Because he's definitely going to be on that innings limit because my biggest worry with him, of course, and I think everyone is Tommy John, just because of how fast he throws and how much he threw at LSU, like 100 pitches a game. And we saw in spring training, it was only 1 inning at a time. I don't think he ever got an out. He maybe had one or so.
It wasn't many at bats if it was.
And it made sense because they're being very cautious with him. And I think whenever he gets to the MLB, you probably know Yuri Perez. Yeah. He was on an innings limit with the Marlins. I think he's out to start the year too, so that's a big loss for them. But it's kind of going to be along those lines of making sure he's preserved well enough. And I think they got it. That's why they boosted the rotation with some of these veterans they have, and it's crazy to say, and I want to go into this. Mitch Keller is now a veteran. He's now the ace of this team. And I see all these debates all the time about Mitch Keller and how he's the ace of the Pirates, but he's probably a 2 or 3 starter at best on another team, which is a very valid argument. There's only certain teams he would probably be the ace of. He's the Pirates ace, however, but another guy I really like to see before we go to you with Mitch Keller is I really liked what I've seen from Martin Perez this spring. I really like that signing.
Yeah, I think the spring training kind of showed us a lot, like pitching wise, what we're gonna see throughout the season. Obviously, I feel like Mitch is gonna be. I feel like he's gonna be solid. I think he's got a lot to prove this year, and I think he's gonna do very well. We saw some struggle with Marco Gonzalez a little bit in the spring training games, which could be a little questionable. I mean, that's what you're going to get with an older, slow ball lefty. Like, I mean, you can expect him to get shelled up a little bit, but he didn't look like he had all of his stuff in each of his outings, and that one I'm a little scared about. But I am excited about Martin Perez.
Yeah, I really liked what I've seen from Martin Perez, of course, this spring or whatever. And I like the acquisition of him just because of his veteran leadership. He just won a ring, and he was an all-star in 2022. And there's a couple guys they brought in free agent-wise for the hitting side of things. But before we get to that, I guess to close out my spiel about the pitchers. I like what you said about Marco Gonzalez. I was high on him when he was traded to us practically for free, just because we needed arms at the time. But with some of the arms that were out there, like a Michael Lorenzen, I would have really liked him. And then he went to the Rangers for $4.5 million.
Right.
But at the same time, I see people say he wouldn't have accepted that for the Pirates. He would have probably wanted more. But at the same time, I'm like, should have tried to get him. And I made the prediction they were going to sign Domingo Germán. If they signed Domingo Germán, I said to you, they should have just signed Trevor Bauer.
At that point, yeah.
I think he's the better of the two iffy guys that are out there. But, I mean, he's going to be in the minor leagues. And then they signed a guy by the name of Eric Lauer, who, when the free agency started, I was like, he's definitely going to be a Pirate just because he's not.
He just fits.
He just fits.
Yeah.
Not to say he's bad or anything, but
Right.
he just fits with the scheme they're trying to design. But, like, rotation-wise, it's looking like Mitch Keller. I've been seeing it would be like Marco at number 2. I don't know why. Martin Perez 3, Jared Jones 4, and Luis Ortiz 5. And then I saw something today that Luis Ortiz would be taking like a bulk roll out of the pen. So is Bailey Falter the 5th? That's the thing like we talked about a couple of months ago.
Right.
The pitching
Still
is
a lot
an
of
issue.
question marks,
yes. But yeah.
So I think there is obviously still some question marks for sure. But I think one thing that this season we can have, that we know we can have, is our bullpen. I think our bullpen is going to be very strong. We still have David Bednar. I really like the Aroldis Chapman signing. I know he's getting up in age a little bit, but I think he's still just a very good guy to have in the locker room. And to have him and Colin Holderman as our setup man, I really like that a lot. Carmen Majinski, I think, is going to do very well. And
to add on about the bullpen before we move on to the offense, I love it too, and I just find it crazy, like the Pirates' luck and things. I don't know if you saw the post, MLB ranked them the 3rd best bullpen.
Right.
Day after, Moretta goes to the 60-day IL with Tommy John, which, I mean, I like Dari Moretta. I thought he was good last year. It was a really good personality to have, like, big money for him, Money Moretta. Of course, hate to see Tommy John. That's like the 3rd Tommy John. Like, Andy Rodriguez just had Tommy John. Like, Mike Burrows, JT Brubaker last year. Like, the Pirates are definitely cursed with the injury bug, and that happened the day after these rankings came out, because the day after, Holderman goes to the IL with a flu bug, and it was supposedly like really bad in spring training. Like he like lost 15 pounds, I guess.
Dang.
And then Carmen Majinski's might be on the IL. I'm hoping not. He might be a 15-day IL guy, and he was a really good rookie last year, one of my favorite guys they had. But yeah, bullpen by far the plus of the team, I think. I would say the other plus, moving on to the offensive side. They did something last week I really loved too. During spring break, I really liked Michael A. Taylor. Liked that signing a lot.
Yes, for sure.
Fixes the outfield issue, because they have a lot of outfielders in the roster right now, so they brought Palacios back down. I like Josh Palacios, but I don't like him as a starter in the MLB. I like him as like that bench guy, but they just brought in like Olivares, brought back McCutcheon, all these other guys, Connor Joe too, and he'll be playing outfield and first. But you have an outfield now of a Gold Glover in Taylor in center field. You have an outfielder in Ryan Reynolds, and you also have a guy in Jack Sawinski. Now, who do you move in that outfield to make it work?
You see, I don't know. I like Brian Reynolds a lot in left. I mean, he showed a lot last year that he's got that spot locked down. I think Jack Sawinski also has center, and then we can just kind of throw Michael A. Taylor in right. At that point, I mean, outfielders, in my opinion at least, I feel like at the major league level, you can kind of put them at any position, and they'll they'll produce. Yeah. But I like the Michael A. Taylor signing a lot. That's been being talked about like forever. Like as soon as free agency opened, like that was being discussed. But I like our offense a lot, and then we also have, our infield, like that's not.
We were
like,
talking about that before.
For sure,
it's interesting.
We got rosters came out today. We'll say Yover Peguero is starting off in AAA, and we have Jared Triolo is going to be our opening day second baseman, which I personally love. I think he definitely deserves a spot in the lineup. He he didn't have a long stint up here last year, but like from what he showed, it looks like he could be our answer at second base. And even if he isn't, like we have plenty of options. So
I love his bat just because he doesn't focus on power.
Right. He's a contact guy.
He can be a contact hitter just getting on base. He batted .298 as a rookie.
Right.
Out of all the rookies they had last year, Peguero, Gonzalez, Henry Davis, you would expect Davis to be the top guy. Jared Triolo won a lot of fans' hearts, which I really like to see. What's interesting about him playing second, he's mainly a third baseman, and until last year, he never really played second base.
Yeah.
And he's a Gold Glover in the minor leagues. He won't play third because of just Brian Hayes.
Right.
But any day Hayes is out, Triolo's going to third.
For sure.
I could easily see that happening. And then if, like, say Hayes gets injured or something, which I do not want to see, of course, they move Triolo to third, solid backup. He won't have as much power in the bat, but he's going to provide a solid contact hitter, maybe top of the lineup. And then they can just call up Peguero. They have so much infield depth, which at my point, I said in the last time we'd had this talk, they need to trade some of those pieces just because they have, like, I don't see an opportunity in the future for Nick Gonzalez, which I hate to see because I want to see him succeed.
Right.
I liked him as a pick, but, like, people don't like his strikeout numbers and all that stuff. He has some solid power a little bit. Peguero is a guy that I don't think they'll ever trade because I don't know if you know this about the GM right now. That was the first guy he traded for in the Marte trade. I think he has a special place in his heart. And then, of course, we talked to Lika Williams. No offense to Lika Williams. I don't think he should be on the Major League roster, but I understand why. Yeah. Just because they want Peguero to get those at-bats. And he's not going to get the everyday at-bats in the Major League because Triolo, I guess, outplayed him in spring training, even though they both played very well. Yeah. But Triolo is the guy they see more in at right now, which I completely understand. But yeah, so and then, infield, Rowdy Tellez and Hayes at the corners.
Right. I think I see Rowdy Tellez being a guy that, like, you know, he's getting his innings, whatever. I could see him and Connor Joe maybe even being like a kind of what's the word? Platoon, yeah. A platoon at first base maybe. But I see Rowdy Tellez being a guy that maybe we trade at the deadline for something. But other than that, yeah, I really like our outfit. And then, I mean, in spring training, we saw a lot from Termar Johnson.
I'm so excited.
I know, I'm very excited for him. Yeah, the dude was just raking baseballs. And he's super humble. He's a good guy. So, I mean, I wouldn't, if we're making a run, which, I mean, you never know. If we're making a run in, say, August, what's the hurt pulling him up?
Yeah, so. And I think he's going to start the year in Double-A easily. I think he deserves it. I'd be tempted to go drive to Altoona to go watch him a couple times.
For sure.
It's not a far drive. No. But if it's at the point where they're in the running like people think they can for a wild card spot now that there's 3 of them, they need to do what the Reds did last year. And this made me so mad last season. You start that hot in April and May. You fall apart in June and July, and you didn't do anything to the roster. You didn't call any of the hot bats in the minor leagues up. And when you did, you put them in terrible positions like Henry Davis, who's like the best catcher in the system, put him in right field. Yeah. It just didn't make sense. Meanwhile, the Reds called up Ellie De La Cruz, which he started out hot, got him into a little bit of a postseason push, but then he kind of died down. Yeah. Matt McClain was very good. I really like Matt McClain for them. But like they just lost Noelvi Marte to the PEDs, but they called him up too. Lewis Brinson was good last year for them, but like you got to do what your rivals are doing. Right. And you can't. This is the time where everyone's like 2024. I know a lot of people were joking 2025 world champs like years ago. It's about that time that you need to start saying, okay, maybe we got to spend some money. Go out this trade deadline if they're in like a winning record, close to 500. Trade some of those middle infield guys. Get a solid pitcher. Like everyone was like, trade for Dylan Cease. Do it. I mean, I was kind of 50-50 on just because of his ERA issues. Right. But other than that, like Dylan Cease would have been the ace over Mitch Keller this year. For sure. Which is crazy to say, and I love Mitch Keller as a player and stuff, but like when looking at the team and the roster construction, if you bring in like a ace like that or like a Jesus Luzardo, that might be your ace over Mitch Keller, which they could have done that too. Like the whole Edward Cabrera thing, it just fell apart, I guess. But other than that, like you brought up Rowdy Tellez. I think if he plays like he did in 2022, which I think they hope he did, he had like 34, almost 40 home runs. He was like a top power hitting first baseman in the league with the Brewers. He hit well at PNC Park. He was a Pirates killer, so maybe they think that is. But like, I think Rowdy Tellez is one of my hot takes. I think he's going to become the new lovable Pirate this year, just because for some reason the Pirates have this thing for big first basemen, like Yoshi Tsutsugo, Daniel Vogelbach, Carlos Santana last year. He was awesome, but now you bring in Rowdy Tellez. Something about Yinzers, and like he's going to get a Permante's sponsorship. He'd probably get a sandwich named after him. He could, for sure. But like Brian Hayes, I guess close out the hitters with this. Brian Hayes is a big key. I think he needs to have his second half of the season the whole
season for sure.
Last year, each season he started out really slow, and he's killing it right now in spring training. And I just hope that continues because they need that bat in there, especially with O'Neal Cruz hitting like he did. And like you said, with the home runs, they broke the franchise record for most homers in spring training. And a lot of it was actually guys in the big leagues.
For sure.
Like O'Neal Cruz, Henry Davis, Brian Reynolds hit a couple, and like Ke'Bryan Hayes. And if that continues, they could do something special, but they need Ke'Bryan Hayes' bat to stay like that. They need Cruz to stay healthy, which I really hope he does.
Yeah.
But it's all going to come down to the pitching staff, I think. And that's why I think they boosted up the bullpen to protect it a little bit. Yeah. Any closing thoughts about the Pirates? You got a hot take. Let's do hot takes.
Hot takes.
Awards for the team. So hot takes first.
Okay, hot takes. Pittsburgh Pirates hot takes. I'll say, I think if O'Neal Cruz stays healthy, I think he could get some MVP votes, and I think he could have a 40-40 season for sure.
I was going to say for O'Neal Cruz a 30-30 season.
Yeah.
40-40 I would love.
That would be amazing.
I think if he gets either one, I only pick him 30-30 just to be a little bit more on the safe side.
Yeah.
But he has the potential. I think it's of course how the Reds are. I'm happy this rivalry is back.
Yeah.
And I think it mainly sparked from Reds fans being like, oh, Ellie's the best. Everyone forgot about O'Neal Cruz because the whole league started posting about Ellie De La Cruz. And now O'Neal Cruz is killing it in spring training. So I think it's 7 homers compared to Ellie's 2. It's going to be a battle. They both play the same position. They're both freaks of nature. They both don't look like they should be playing shortstop. No. They should be maybe like an outfielder or first baseman with how big they are. They're literally the same player. Yeah. And I love it because it's like the Reds-Pirates rivalry has come back finally since like the whole like Amir Garrett, Yasiel Puig battle. Yeah. That whole series, that whole weekend was awesome. The wild card game. But that rivalry needed to come back. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah. But I think just to go off that real quick, I think not only the Reds and the Pirates, I think just the whole NL Central in general.
It's up for grabs.
Yeah, I think it's like it could be an all-out brawl between all 5 of these teams. I think the Cardinals. I think people are expecting them to do better than they did last year, which I mean, it's a low bar for them. But I don't see them doing much. But I think between the Cubs, the Brewers, us, and the Reds, I think it's going to be a serious dogfight, and I'm excited for it.
I'm really hyped for NL Central baseball because it's like both Central divisions in the MLB are mediocre.
Yeah.
And only one team is making the playoffs, I think, in each because I think all the wild cards are going to the East and West divisions easily. Especially in the NL, it's probably going to be a lot of Eastern and West teams. But for this division, like I like your Cardinals thing. I don't think the Brewers are going to be that good, actually.
Yeah.
They just traded their ace.
Yeah, Corbin Burns.
I have a gut feeling. I was watching this guy talk about this the other day. He thinks Rhys Hoskins could get traded. He thinks that like ownership could change, even though they just signed him to a 2-year deal. They could trade Hoskins. Other guys like Willie Adames, they were into that. Christian Yelich possibly. Like they might just start over.
Yeah.
But like back to like my Bucko hot take before we get to the league stuff. I said O'Neal Cruz 30-30. You know what? I'll build on Ke'Bryan Hayes. He's winning the Platinum Glove. I think he's going to win. I mean, it is a fan award or whatever. I think he should have won. If it was stats, it's his.
For sure.
He should have won the last 3.
Yeah.
To be honest, but Nolan Arenado, he finally broke the streak. But I think he's going to win the Platinum Glove this year. And now let's do, I guess, team awards. So let's start with Rookie of the Year. I think. I'm guessing it's going to be a pitcher.
Yeah.
Which one?
I think Rookie of the Year. I mean, he's the man of today. At least I think we just got to go with Jared Jones. I think he's just going to come out rolling, and he's just going to start shoving from day one, his first start, and I think it's going to be exciting.
I'm going to go Jared Jones. I would love to pick Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it's just the fact that they both throw lights out fastballs. Yeah. They can both hit 100 miles per hour. And if they can do that like they were doing in spring training, the whole game, like at least 3 innings of it, he's going to be a candidate for maybe Rookie of the Year. Yeah. Possibly. And people are sleeping on Jared Jones. And some people across the league might be waking up a little bit. Yeah. Because I've been seeing like actual predictions. He's getting some votes on people's like videos. They make a like, wow, you guys know who Jared Jones is. I'm kind of shocked.
And to go off that for actual Rookie of the Year, I'm just going to go out and say this could be a hot take. But I think Yamamoto for the Dodgers, I think he's going to be a complete bust.
Ooh, I like that take.
I think that he was way overhyped, and I think MLB hitters are just a different beast than what he was seeing in the Korean League. And I don't think he's going to pan out. We already saw his first start in the Seoul series. It did not go well for him. And I mean, it's hard to base off one game, but I just think it's going to carry through. I don't think he's what he's hyped up to be.
Yeah, I know. I guess we'll do Cy Young for the Buccos now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the safe option. It's the one that all the fans want. I'll just say Mitch Keller. I think he's going to go out and it'd be good for him to go out and have a good year. So
you know what? I want to take Keller, but if I'm saying Jared Jones again, Rookie of the Year votes, I'll say Jared Jones. I think he stays efficient. Then team MVP.
I think I'm just going to go Neil Cruz. I'm taking all the safe options here, but
Bold.
I'm going to go Neil Cruz, hoping that he stays healthy the whole season. But I just think he's going to rake like he has been in spring training. He's going to steal a lot of bags. The only thing I'm a little worried about is his defense, but I mean, he hasn't had a full season to prove it yet, so I think he'll pick it up, and I think he'll be good.
Yeah, for my team MVP, I would like to take Cruz, but I'm taking a guy that I think finally breaks out, Brian Hayes.
Sure.
I think his bat's finally going to do it the whole season. I'm seeing a lot of people picking him to get maybe some MVP votes, maybe like 1 or 2. But other than that, he's a Gold Glover guy. He's become a fan favorite. He's here for a while still, and I don't think there's any worries of him getting moved anytime soon. Him or Reynolds, they're here to stay. But yeah, that's the Buccos talk, and now let's go to MLB predictions. So the season starts on this coming Thursday. I guess we want to do the same thing, or you just want to go certain teams you're looking out for first. So let's do hot takes.
Sure. Hot takes. I think this is not. I mean, we're staying in the NL Central here. I think Elly De La Cruz is. O'Neal Cruz is the dominant Cruz in my eyes. I think Elly De La Cruz he's been hyped up too much, and he's going to fold under pressure. And I think he is not going to do well at all. And I think let's go. That wasn't really a hot take, but hot take.
That was a very biased hot take.
Yeah, we'll say hot take. I like Julio Rodriguez a lot. I think
I was going to talk about him.
Yeah, I think he could be in MVP conversation this year, and I'll go out and say he has a 40-40 season.
I like that take a lot.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I was actually going to pick him for when we get to MVPs. I'm not even going to lie, but you might have spoiled my pick there. But I am going to say for my hot take here, I actually think a team I'm looking at to maybe win their division, because they're in a bad division like ours, Detroit Tigers.
Wow.
I know a lot of people are looking at the Detroit Tigers like they're bad. And they can be bad.
Me included.
But they brought in Jack Flaherty.
Yep.
Brought in Kenta Maeda. Have a bunch of young guys. I like Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green.
They got Tyler Skubal as well. Yep.
Kerry Carpenter's a sleeper, 20 home runs a season. I think that they can be like the Pirates of the AL.
Sure.
I really do. And if they're in a situation to not win that division, they could be like the Buccos, the Reds, those types of a tier of team to push for a low wild card spot and maybe make it back to the postseason.
Yeah.
I guess that's my hottest take, because I'm looking at the Tigers roster, I'm I really like how Torkelson played last year.
Yeah.
I like his potential as a #1 overall pick he was.
Yep.
I like what Kerry Carpenter did. I like what Riley Green did last year. Very good outfielder, and then they have Max Clark coming in a few years. That team's going to be nasty.
Yeah.
So let's start with Rookie of the Year. I'll start with you. NL, you want to do NL, AL type of thing? Or
We can do whatever, sure.
Let's do NL, AL.
Yeah.
There's 2.
I really like Rookie of the Year. I really like Wyatt Langford. I think he could do something special this season. He brings a lot of power to the lineup, and he brings the average. So I think he could do something special. Let me think. For NL Rookie of the Year.
It's tough.
There's a
lot of young guys in the NL
There's a lot
right
of
now.
young guys. Let's just go. Let's keep it Yinzer strong. Let's go out and say Jared Jones.
I like that. That's a bold take. For my Rookies of the Year, I really like the Wyatt Langford pick. I really do. I'm going to stick with that. I like Wyatt Langford. I wouldn't have been mad if we picked him #1 overall. There was no wrong choice in last year's draft.
For sure.
Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz, Wyatt Langford. I think Wyatt Langford is a better Dylan Cruz. I think he has a better bat.
Yeah.
Personally, like better power bat. I think everyone said Dylan Cruz is going to be the next Mike Trout. I think he's faster than Langford, but Langford has way more power in my opinion. But other than that, for the NL, people really like him. The guy from the Brewers, Jackson Chourio. I think that's how you pronounce his name. People like him. I would love Jared Jones to win it. I'm going to go the guy from the Brew Crew, Jackson Chourio. Very young player. I think in the AL, if Jackson Holiday gets up in time, he could do it. But I'm going to stick with Wyatt Langford. I guess I'll just start with Cy Youngs. I think in the AL, I've been seeing a lot of people say Pablo Lopez of the Minnesota Twins. Very good year last year. That can be a hot take. I'm going to take Pablo Lopez in the AL. And in the National League, this is going to be tough because the NL has a lot of good pitchers this year. I would love to see a random pitcher win. Yeah. Like a really crazy take. And you know what? I'm going to say that right now. Just first name that pops in my head. In our division, Justin Steele.
Sure, for the Cubs.
I think him for the Cubs has a good year. Very good year last year. All-star appearance.
Yep.
I think he's going to build on that. And I think the Cubs are a dangerous team this year for the NL.
Cy Young, let's see. I really like for the Yankees. I think Carlos Rodon, I think he's going to have a really big comeback season. And I could definitely see him making a push for Cy Young. Because, I mean, he did well. Last year he didn't do too well. But the year before, he shoved. So I would like to see him. I like him a lot as a player. He brings a lot of flash, a lot of energy to the game. NL Cy Young. I mean, I'm keeping it basic again, but I could see. Oh no, I forgot. I was going to say Corbin Burns. I forgot he's on the Baltimore Orioles now. Okay, so let's go NL. I'll just go out and I'll say Spencer Strider for the Braves.
I like that one.
Yeah, he's a young guy. Obviously, I like the dispute with him and the Phillies in the playoffs last year. A lot of energy in that Braves lineup, and I think he could do something special there for the Braves.
And then MVPs. I'll start with you. You have your MVP picks?
NL MVP. I'm gonna go out and say Ronald Acuna Jr. I don't think I don't think it's crazy. He had like a little knee scare in spring training, so I don't think he's gonna go out and steal 70 bags again. But I could definitely see him getting like 45. Like that's not outlandish, I think. So I think he could definitely win it in the NL. AL, I personally really love Adley Rutschman for the Baltimore Orioles. And I think he's just a strong bat. He's going to bring it for the Orioles.
I'll start with the AL because I kind of said earlier, Julio Rodriguez. I'm surprised you didn't pick him. I thought you were for first. I think he's going to have a 40-40 season. That's another hot take for me. 40 stolen bases, 40 home runs. I think he's going to lead the Mariners to the playoffs, a surprise playoff run. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on the Mariners. Yeah. And for National League MVP, it's very tough because I don't want to pick a Dodger.
Right.
And I really don't want to just because they have so many guys. But I'm going to pick someone in their division. Here's a hot take, Corbin Carroll.
Okay.
I really like Corbin Carroll. I don't know why. He's one of my favorite players now. Won Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to win MVP. Now, did the Diamondbacks still make the playoffs? I think so. Possibly. Maybe they fall off. But I'm still going to take him for MVP. He can do it all. So there's my MVP picks. Two speedy guys, Julio and Corbin Carroll.
Julio and Corbin. Yep.
So that's going to do it for now. And before we leave, actually, very quick, yes or no question. Is Ohtani innocent?
I don't think he is. There's no way he didn't know. I mean, he's a multimillionaire, and I don't know. I don't see a way where he gets out of this without any repercussions.
I'm going to say it's a maybe.
Yeah.
I want to say he's innocent just because I like the guy.
Right.
I hope he is just so I can watch him play baseball.
Right, he's the face of the league.
I've never watched him play yet, so my luck I'll want to watch him play. He gets this banned for gambling.
Right.
But yeah, thank you all for watching our baseball preview. Opening day this week, make sure to keep an eye on your favorite teams, and maybe we'll be right at the end of the year. Who knows? But thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.